Alright, welcome back.
Welcome back to gambling. These are loot packs.
These are loot packs. How dare they? We had an episode talking about that too, didn't we?
I think we did.
Yeah, because I was just like, loot boxes are not gambling, no matter how much people feel like they are.
I can get it, and I don't like it at the same time.
I mean, you can not like fucking
I get
loot boxes and think they're a horrible fucking plague on the industry of video games, which I agree with.
Yes.
But you can't convince me that it's fucking gambling. Because it's inherently not gambling.
But how dare you say that, Chris?
It's like, listen, it's very easy to prove it's not gambling too, because we've already defined what gambling is. Gambling is having worse odds than in your favor of you giving money to something and not getting that money back, with the advantage of winning something in return. Because with the advantage of possibly winning something in return. Because you get something no matter what when you open a loot box, it is inherently not gambling. I don't care how much people sit there and they're just like, well, other countries seem it's gambling, and I'm like, well, they're wrong. Well, maybe it is gambling in their specific country, because different countries have different rules on what gambling is.
Mm-hmm. What's wrong?
Something feels really strange. I'm sure I don't.
I'm trying to remember how much longer this game there is.
I can't imagine there's too much. Well,
There's
actually a lot longer of this game.
There's another.
We haven't
There's
played
another
Riku
character
yet. Yeah.
But
I feel like we're at the end of Sora, honestly.
this is either the last or second last world.
Yeah.
Lots of other stuff, and that's why
Yeah. Like the fact that Nominee isn't real.
Sora, I think you're misremembering.
Nominee, my memories sort of came drifting back to me, a little piece at a time.
Almost like they were planted.
Now, it's not memories, just this idea that I must have been here before.
You were, but not as Sora.
Ooh.
I'm the bad guy! Ooh!
I'm the main villain of this plot.
A question then for you.
His voice really doesn't fit his character, though.
Oh no, it's so stupid.
It's so goofy sounding towards his look.
Nominee, of course.
Like, I get what the voice actor was going for, but it just doesn't fit the dude's face.
Twiddle-dee, twiddle-dum!
Like, he's going for kind of like a regal, like, I'm fucking with you kind of sound, but like, it doesn't fit how this dude looks at all.
Oh no, it's so bad.
It binds our hearts.
Oh my god, I hate it.
I told you.
Riddle me this,
This
Batman.
place was created solely from another side.
Riddle me this, Batman.
It is on the other side.
What has no legs and is falling into a pit of acid? And he's like, what? And he's like, the baby! And he's like, Jesus Christ, Riddle, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know this place. If you remain bound by the chain of memories and refuse to believe what is truly found inside your heart,
They said it. They say the name of the title of the game.
Wow.
you are not a Keyblade master. Just a
But I am a Keyblade master. I said so.
Yes. Exactly like
Also, don't they establish that he's not a Keyblade master like multiple times?
Yes.
I love this because the first two games in the series are just like, if you are the Keyblade Master, Sora, and everyone refers to him as the Keyblade Master, and then we get like fucking 4 games in, and they're just like, Riku must train to become the freaking Keyblade Master.
I'd never throw away my heart.
You already
I'm
did.
gonna take you down.
You literally threw it away to save fucking,
No, he doesn't remember that.
I already forgot her name because
Kairi.
they've said nominate too many times.
Kairi.
I'm becoming Sora!
Nah! So, I'm probably gonna die again because I still have ice and ice heals him.
Why don't you change it in the boss fight?
I didn't know that. I
We just pause it and change it up.
can't.
Derek. Something tells me this mechanic is bad.
Yes!
I always have problem with boss fights like this where... Actually, I have problems with this, but I'm also like, this is 100% unavoidable. And it's every RPG has this fucking thing where it's just like, oh, we have moves that heal your enemy, except that you're not gonna know that until you've already fucked it up.
Oh, I hate it!
And I hate that. Like, I get why they do it, it's part of the challenge, but I hate it. Like, I'm playing another RPG in my spare time, right? Because I really want to beat it so that I can actually play it on the show later. But I want to beat it first because it's not an easy fucking game. But, there's tons of that in that game where you just start a boss fight and it's just like, he's weak to question mark, and you just have to throw spells at him and hope to fucking god you find his weakness quickly. And it's like, alright.
I hate it. I hate that shit so bad.
It's very common in the Shin Megami Tensei games, except Shin Megami Tensei games are worse because the bosses also tend to have their second phase, which is just like, and now
everything's changed up!
It's like, and now I get to go twice, and I use lower your defenses, and I follow up lower your defenses with a master. I follow up with Divine Attack, which hits all your party members for 1,000 damage unscaled, and kills you instantly. And now I win. All right, I hope you like resetting this fucking half-hour boss fight. And it's like, yeah, no, I love this great game.
Yes, thank you, Donald.
Hell yeah.
I'm so glad you were here.
Yeah,
and now I died.
Should have used some heals.
I was trying to get there. Problem is, at a certain point, your deck gets way too big.
Yeah, I get that. Well, that's because you're not playing right. Your 50% of your deck needs to be heals. Like, 50% of your deck needs to be land.
Tied it all back, Chris.
Pulling it all together. At some point, I want to play fucking the Naruto card game with Derek, the original one, because it's like insane, and I want him to understand how insane it is.
It's insane in the membrane.
Because it's like, it's both. Imagine, essentially, the best way of putting it is imagine Magic the Gathering, because you've already played Magic the Gathering.
Yes.
It works exactly like Magic the Gathering. Except they tossed on another, like, 50 fucking rules towards it.
Ah, great.
But, like, other than that, it's exactly... The core mechanics are all exactly the same.
Great.
Oh, actually, all the mechanics are exactly the same, except you know how you need to use land to determine what you can play onto the field?
Yes.
Instead, you have a timer-based system for that, where it's turn-based. But the magic you can use, like, you know how you play Magic? That's land-based. So...
That's only confusing.
Yeah, so very easy to understand. Also, you can build ninjas into squads of 3, but you don't have to do that. That's just your opinion, man. And also, like, doing that, though, gives them extra attacking bonuses for when they go and attack, like, higher stats.
Yes.
And, like, you can block anything. So it's like, do you want to split up your ninjas and have them all attack so they don't have enough to block so you can attack directly? Or do you want to stack one of them so that way if they do try and block it, it will just kill their shit? Also, their shit doesn't die. It goes into damage mode before it dies. And then it has different stats based off of its damage percentage. And some cards are actually better when they're in damage.
Like you do.
But having better stats and damage makes sense because it means they want you to have that card as under a squad leader. Because the squad leader has his fucking straightforward ones, but all those side ones have the sideways stats from the sideways one. This is very easy. You'll understand it, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, like...
I think you get the hang of it immediately. I had a friend teach me how to play the game, and I liked his thought process on it because I was like, so how do I know what to put in chakra zones? And he's like, dude, if you don't know what you want to put in the chakra zone, he's like, you handle it like I handle it. You hoard the cards in your hand, and then when you have too many cards in your hand that you have to discard for having too many cards in your hand, just play it in the chakra zone instead of discarding it, because you would have had to get rid of it anyways.
Like you do.
And he's like, and if you finally get the cards you need for your chakra zone stuff, you can just put as many cards as you want in there, like, on the same turn. So fucking, like, if you find a card that you're like, oh, this is the card I needed, but you need 3 chakras in there, you just throw 3 fucking cards in there and play it. And I was like
you do.
And I was like, genius.
Oh my god, I hate... Some things are just, like, so stupid, it's logical.
It's It's absolutely, like, amazing how, like, straightforward that game becomes when you're, like, not thinking about it at all. It's like, oh yeah, you just do the basic shit, and it makes perfect sense. I guess it's not the only card game that... The Naruto card game, I guess, is, like, a universal card game standard. I guess there's a bunch of other card games that came out at the time that play exactly the same, including a Dragon Ball Z variant. Which plays exactly the same, but with Dragon Ball Z characters instead. Which I thought was weird, because I was like, what the fuck is this? Dragon Ball has its own card game, which apparently was cancelled at some point.
Then renewed, and then canceled.
Renewed, and then cancelled again, and then now it's back as the Super Dragon Ball card game for Super. Which is totally different than the first two card games, which the second one was inherently different than the first one.
But you can use the same card!
But you can use similar cards. It's very confusing. Yeah, I guess there was like, because I remember the original Dragon Ball card game and then Dragon Ball card game Super, but apparently in between those two card games, there was another Dragon Ball card game that played exactly like the Naruto one. Could have fucking fooled me, man. I don't know. Like that shit came out of nowhere to me. You know what I thought was a really cool card game, though, that didn't have a fucking chance of actually making it anywhere because it just did not have the popularity?
What?
Fucking Chaotix.
Fucking Chaotix? Remember that. I didn't remember... Let me try that sentence again.
Oh, sure.
I never played the game, but I did watch the show, and the show was pretty cool. It had a cool concept.
The show was pretty cool. I like the concept of the game because
it's like
there is, like, no luck in that game.
It's like strategy...
Because you set up rows of 3 like an army, right?
Yes.
And each row has one less card than the last, so it's 3, 2, 1. And then you battle through your enemy's line until you take their king, essentially.
Yeah, their commander, I think they called it, like, their captain.
Yes, and then you can use, like, item cards, and I don't think they're called magic cards, but some sort of magic like equivalent card, yeah. And that was a cool idea. That was probably the least luck-based card game ever made.
Yeah, like, you could see there was clearly a lot of strategy.
It was mostly a strategy game. And I just like the concept of, like, oh, you defeat your enemy and then you move up. And now you're, like, you gotta fight into the next line.
Yeah, I liked that, too.
It was very neat.
Thunder! He's dead. Everybody's dead.
Thunder! My only question was, like, what happens, though, if everyone's cards get cleared out, except for the last 2, like, kings at the end? Were they allowed to move up? I was never quite sure. Because I never actually played it, but I watched a lot of the show, so I understood, like, how the mechanics
Like, your commander could be used as the same, as a card as well.
Yeah. Well, I know it could be, but I was unaware if they would let you move the commander.
Yes.
In the line.
Yes.
Did they? Okay.
It was not the smartest decision, but you could.
You could, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like the fucking... You remember the fucking, Mortal Kombat chess game we played?
Yes.
It's like that, but more complicated and with cards. What other fucking... There was a lot of weird card games. They had, like, the Bleach card game that I don't think anyone fucking played.
Like, it's so funny because I would go into like Newberry Comics, and see these card games, and I'm like, I could pick that up. It's like $2, and then I was like, it's not worth the $2 I'd spend for it.
See, Bleach had that same problem though, because Bleach was built around a resource system too, and they also expected you to have like half your fucking deck be resources.
And then we've played it, me and you, the Transformers card game.
Yes, yeah.
Which I'm not sure which one we're talking about, because there's actually like 5?
Dude, there's like a fucking ton of Transformer card games.
And I didn't know this to begin with, but they're still making 2 or 3 versions of the Transformer card game.
They just all run at the same time.
Yes! I'm not even joking about this. This is a thing.
Oh, Derek, apparently we should have made our card game based off of Transformers, because they give that shit away to anyone.
Too true.
Oh, man.
But, well, it's Hasbro, that's why.
Yeah, that's true, dude. Tell me about it.
But,
I know
the one we played, the game we played,
yeah.
I like it. Not because, like, it's a great game, but because the cards flip over, and they're the car version and the normal and the robot version.
Transform and roll out, as they say. That game has a power creep problem, though.
Oh, yeah,
and it's not even that old of a game.
They're on, like, wave 5 or something of the cards, and I'm like, some of these cards are just inherently better than the ones they had in the first release of the game.
Way better.
I don't know if I've showed you it, because I've been like, I'm interested. I'm going to look at some of these cards.
See, all card games have a power creep problem. But, like, it depends on how they handle it.
Like,
that makes it, like, Magic and Pokemon handle their power creep problem by just being like, all old cards are not playable! Fuck you and your money! Which is another reason I hate Magic, by the way.
Yes and no. Magic does, some older cards are like, yeah, this card is still broken no matter what we do to it.
No. They literally break off their fucking cards based off of seasons.
Oh, yeah, no.
So, like, you can't play any cards from the older seasons if you play tournaments.
Different depending on the format you're playing.
That's the main format, though, Derek.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like it. It's my biggest problem with the format in general. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Has its own problems where all of a sudden a new card comes out and a card that was released 20 fucking years ago is suddenly broken and destroys everything in the fucking game, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that.
Dude, I can't tell you how many fucking cards are like that. Like, you can make cards that were fucking garbage all of a sudden, like, insanely broken overnight for no reason. Yeah. There was a deck I used to play called, Dustin's Goblin King, as I used to call it. And essentially the deck was,
Let me guess, is he a goblin?
He's the Goblin King. He was released in, like, set 1 or some shit. He's, like, a super old card, and it was, like...
I think I remember that card, actually.
And, like, any fiend monster on the field gives this card 1,000 more attack. So, like, if there's no fiends on the field, he gets no attack. But if there's one fiend on the field, he gets 1,000, and then 1,000 for every other fiend on the field. The thing is it doesn't just include your field. It's the entire field, including your opponent's field. So what you do is you open up turn 1, and you play a card face down. This is Dustin Storm or some shit. Or Dustin Cloud or some shit. Whatever the fuck it was called. But when that card is attacked and destroyed, you can summon as many Dustins of one color to each side of the field as long as you don't do more than one color. Because they'll be destroyed if it's more than one color. So you summon red, blue, yellow, green Dustin onto your field in defense, and red, green, blue, yellow Dustins on their field in attack. And then you play Goblin King, and you have 8,000 attack, and all the Dustins have 0 attack, and you only have 8,000 health. So then you just attack one of the Dustins and win for game immediately on your second turn.
I mean, like you do.
It is the fucking dumbest OTK deck ever, and I love playing it. Because you'll see people go off, they'll summon like 1,000,000 fucking cards with 1,000,000,000 fucking effects, and like... It would be like 4,000 attack, and then you just fill their field with Dustins and attack the Dustin and hit them for like 8,000 and win, and they're just like...
That's cheating!
And they're just like, Yu-Gi-Oh's fucking stupid. But like, Dustin's literally made that card... Dustin's gave that card the ability to OTK, and that card is like 15 years old. Like, that's how fucking ridiculous Yu-Gi-Oh gets. Like,
yeah.
Like, you could just do dumb shit overnight.
So card games are stupid, and I love them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, speaking of stupid card games, Teppen, right?
Yep.
Teppen just had another balance patch.
Of course.
As it tends to have frequently at this point, because as they add more and more cards, older cards... Because they run on Yu-Gi-Oh logic. Instead of Hearthstone, which is like, we fucking ban older cards after a certain point because the new set's out and we want people to spend more money.
Whoa, are you saying Hasbro or Blizzard or these companies want you to just keep spending money because that's how they make revenue?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we're on the same page.
But like, so they don't run on that format. They run on more of the Yu-Gi-Oh format, which is like, everything is illegal except for specific tournaments, but those are specific tournaments, so you don't have to play them. You don't really get anything for playing them anyways, except for maybe some items and a free pack if you really want to, so it doesn't really matter. Core set's core set. So there's like a ton of like every so many games we just get like so many I guess seasons. Every so many seasons we'll get like a new set, and then all of a sudden people will realize like, hey, this shit's fucking broken now. So what happened is we started getting the fucking realm of purple black flyer death, which was like they released a shit ton of purple cards that could just like consistently boost their stats and then be made flyers so they could just attack you directly.
Like
and then they were just like, and then you could play a card that just made them attack instantly and also gave them a stat boost of like 2/4 attack health, 2/4. And I'm like, yeah, this card isn't broken at all. And it was funny when that card came fucking out. I was like, this card is incredibly broken, and no one agreed with me. And now we're like 2 seasons later, and they nerfed it, and I'm like, why did it take so fucking long to nerf this? This card is insanely good.
Yeah.
Like, any card that says gives instant attack is way too strong in that game, and always gets nerfed. It was just amazing that it took as long as it did to nerf it.
Like, in Hearthstone, there used to be a mechanic called, I think it was called Haste.
Yeah.
I don't remember if that's the actual term. That might be magic.
Yeah.
But, it was basically, can attack immediately as it's summoned. Mm-hmm. Ignore summoning sickness.
Yeah.
It was so good that they were like, okay, we gotta get rid of this mechanic. We'll make a mechanic called Rush, which is the same mechanic, but incredibly weaker because it can't attack the main player.
Yeah. I get that.
So...
Oh, dude, that reminds me. So, going back to the patches, right? The purple flyer bullshit deck, they nerfed literally every card in that deck.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it wasn't like they nerfed a few, they nerfed every card in that deck to the fucking ground.
It's almost like it's almost like this patch seems to have been geared to one specific thing.
They didn't even pretend like
that it wasn't about that.
Like it wasn't gonna be like, oh yeah, we're changing up, because a lot of the times when they patch cards, they don't patch them as in like nerfing the shit out of them. They just change how the card functions.
Yeah.
So like the way you use the card is different from like the original idea. No, they didn't even try. They were like, everything is nerfed.
Yeah, they had.
Fuck you.
They have done that with a couple cards in Hearthstone. Like, there was a card called Warsong Commander, which gave every character with 2 or less attack, 3 less attack, haste, which meant it could attack immediately.
Yes.
And then there was another card called the Grim Patron. The Grim Patron was, if it attacks and survives, it immediately summons another companion, another Grim Patron, which is a 3/3. And there was another card called, I think, Inspiring Shout or something, which was, your cards can't die this turn.
Yeah.
So you'd have a thing where you'd summon a full board of guys and win the game because there was nothing your opponent could do.
Yep, that sounds about right. Yeah,
it was good shit.
So the one that I think got nerfed hilarious. Essentially, they nerfed one card in Teppen, right? So badly, right? That they essentially were just like, we'd ban this card if we banned cards. That's how badly they nerfed it. So, there's a card in Teppen that, I think it's called Black King's Thorns or something. But, or Black King's Horns. Some stupid fucking name. But it was like a 1 MP cost card, right? So you played it for 1 MP, and it would give you 2 MP, but at the cost of 3 health and 3 cards from your deck.
Yep.
Which is kind of a big deal because 3 cards from your deck is kind of a lot when you only have 30 cards in your deck.
Yes.
They changed its effect so that, because like, you know, the +1 MP if you played it raw was pretty good, but also like, because you got to play it for free. Like, you spend 1 MP, you get 2 MP back, so essentially you got like 1 free MP.
Yeah.
And if they played a card and you activated it in response, you essentially got 2 MP for free. So it was a really fucking strong card. And I knew it was going to get nerfed But holy shit, they changed it so instead of sacrificing 3 attack, or 3 health, you sacrifice 6 health now. Instead of throwing away 3 cards, you throw away 6 cards. And I was like, this could still see play, except they changed it so instead of getting 2 MP, you get 1. So essentially you play it and then immediately get 1 MP. So it's essentially like you get nothing and sacrifice a bunch of shit for no reason.
That sounds honestly like a not enough of a benefit.
Yeah, no, I'm like essentially they hard banned this card without banning it because they don't have ban lists. I'm like, they essentially just wanted this card gone and they just made it awful.
Like they had a thing for druids in Hearthstone which was like get free extra mana this turn. And it was really nice. You got 2 free mana that turn.
Yeah.
It took up an entire card spot, but it was like, oh yeah, no, this is still good.
Yep.
They nerfed it to the ground by making it only give you 1 mana, and it's just like at 1 man, giving you 1 mana for 1 card slot is actually useless.
Yeah. With that though, let's call it for this episode. We're gonna see you guys in the next part, and we'll see you then. Peace.